What would you do if your coworker kept stealing from you, not once, not twice, but over and over again? Well, when it happened to me, I didn't yell, I didn't confront him, I set a trap. And let's just say, the look on his face when his notes disappeared right in the middle of a meeting, worth every single second. If you've ever had someone disrespect your space, your time, or your stuff, you're going to love this story. Because sometimes the sweetest revenge doesn't come with shouting or fighting, it comes with a clever little twist. So hit that like button, subscribe if you love satisfying revenge stories, and buckle up. This one is short, simple, and oh so sweet. I've always been the type of person who likes to keep things organized at work. I had my own little desk set up, not fancy, but clean and functional. I kept a few pens handy because, like most of us, I needed to jot things down throughout the day. But here's the thing, my pens kept vanishing. I'd leave 3 or 4 on my desk, and by the end of the week, they were gone. At first, I chalked it up to being forgetful. Maybe I dropped them somewhere. Maybe I lent one out and never got it back. It happens, right? Except, it kept happening. Over and over. And then I noticed something that made me go, wait a second. One of my coworkers, let's call him Brian, always seemed to have the exact same pens I bought, not just similar ones, the same brand, the same color, the same style. At first I thought, okay, maybe he just happens to buy the same kind. But after a while, the pattern was too obvious. Every time I restocked my pens, his collection seemed to grow. Now here's the thing about Brian. He wasn't just a pen thief. He was one of those coworkers who acted like he was smarter than everyone else. You know the type. Always borrowing things without asking, brushing it off like it wasn't a big deal, laughing when anyone called him out for being careless. I once casually mentioned, "Hey, I keep losing pens. It's so weird," just to see if he'd react. And he smirked, not a guilty smirk, more like a smug little, "What are you gonna do about it?" kind of look. And that's when I realized he knew exactly what he was doing. Normally, I wouldn't care too much about a few pens, but it wasn't just the pens. It was the principle. It was the disrespect. Brian didn't just take. He acted like my stuff was his for the taking, and he got away with it. That smug grin was my breaking point. I decided if Brian wanted to keep stealing my pens, I'd let him. But this time, it would come with a little surprise. I went online and ordered a pack of disappearing ink pens. From the outside, they looked like completely normal pens. Black ink, smooth writing, nothing suspicious at all. But here's the catch. The ink doesn't last. It starts out dark, but after a short while, it begins to fade, until the page looks completely blank. I couldn't stop smiling when they arrived. This was going to be fun. I placed a couple of them on my desk in the exact same spot where I usually left my pens, right where Brian was used to swiping them. And then I waited. It didn't take long. The very next day, right before a meeting, I saw Brian do his usual routine. He strolled past my desk, glanced around like nobody was watching, and, surprise, surprise, grabbed one of the pens. He slipped it into his pocket like he owned the place and went on his way. I had to bite my tongue to keep from laughing. We all sat down in the conference room. Everyone opened their notebooks, laptops, whatever they used. Brian pulled out my pen and started writing notes like the responsible, hard-working employee he pretended to be. For the first 15 minutes, everything was normal. He wrote line after line, looking focused, probably thinking he was being productive. But then, it happened. I'll never forget the look on his face. Brian glanced down at his notes, and you could see the exact moment he realized something was wrong. His writing was gone. The ink had started to fade, and the crisp, dark letters he had just written were turning into faint, ghostly outlines. He leaned closer, squinting, flipping back a page, then forward again. His expression shifted from confusion to panic. Imagine being in the middle of a meeting, surrounded by colleagues, and realizing your entire page of notes has vanished. He rubbed the paper, tapped the pen, even held the notebook up to the light, as if the words would magically reappear. Meanwhile, the rest of us were still scribbling away like nothing was wrong. I sat there, stone-faced, pretending to be focused on the meeting, but inside, I was screaming with laughter. My heart was racing. The satisfaction was unreal. Brian didn't say a word. He sat there frozen, clutching the useless pen, glancing around nervously as if wondering if anyone else noticed. After that day, something changed. He never touched my pens again. In fact, he avoided even going near my desk. My supplies stayed exactly where I left them, untouched and safe. And Brian? Let's just say he learned his lesson the hard way. Sometimes revenge doesn't have to be big or loud, it doesn't have to ruin someone's life. Sometimes the best revenge is just a small, clever move that teaches someone a lesson they won't forget. To me, it wasn't about the pens. It was about respect. And after that little disappearing ink trick, Brian never disrespected my desk again. So, what do you think? Was that the most satisfying little dose of petty revenge or what? Have you ever caught a coworker stealing your stuff? How did you handle it? Drop your stories in the comments. I'd love to read them. And don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more real-life revenge stories that prove karma always comes back around.